What's up, guys? Welcome back to another F1 2019 Career Mode episode. Today we are at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. Luckily for us, it's not going to be as crazy as it was in real life. With all the torrential downpour, it's going to be a dry race in qualifying. But as you can see, we do have a failure on one of our chassis upgrades that we were scheduled to have on at this race. The weight redistribution has failed. Even with our two quality control upgrades that we spent money on last time, we do still get the failure, which is unfortunate. But fortunately, we do get the tire wear upgrade, so that's at least 1 for 2. It won't directly improve the performance of the car, but hopefully it'll save my tires easier, so I have more pace over the course of the entire race. On the progress history chart here, you can see that Racing Point do close up to us just a little bit, but we do maintain the gap for the most part. Red Bull and Ferrari do bring their upgrades over Mercedes, so they closed up a little bit. Hopefully they can keep their title championships alive and bring the fight back to them. But we're going to jump into qualifying here. We are in Q1. As you can see, I forgot to change my engine components going into the qualifying session, so I won't be able to change those in Q1 here without basically coming in last. So I have to make do, see what I can do with just these worn components here, and hopefully I'll be able to change them at the end of the session. Here we come at the end of our first flying lap here. We come across the line. It's going to be a P4 initially. We have a 1:14, I can't read that, 063, yeah, a low 1:14.603 there. Coming across for our second flyer, you can see that I am 2/10 down. I'm like way down on my time. I slowed down here. I was basically not going to beat my first lap time, so that's 2 sets of tires wasted here. I'm just going to come into the pits on that one, and then coming across the line for my third and final lap of the session. This is going to be the start of the flying lap here, but this is my third set of fresh, soft tires, so even if I do make it in the Q2 here, I am not going to have much hope of making it past into Q1, but we'll just see what we can do. Maybe we hopefully can just manage a P15 or 14 here, just get across the line. We're going to cut ahead. We are about 3/10 up, just under 3/10 up, as we head into the final sector. This is my weakest sector on the whole track. These double right-handers that end off the track as I run over the curb a little bit much. I lose quite a bit of time as I cross the line. I'm only about 1/10 up instead of 3/10 up, but that is going to be good enough to get us ahead of Grosjean in the P14 here. At the end of the session, back in the pits, I am going to change my internal combustion engine and my turbocharger, but it's not going to really matter anyway because I'm going to have no fresh sets of tires in Q2, so there's no point in even trying to go out. But Grosjean is coming in. He is below us. He's in P15. He's in the danger zone. As we go to the end of the session here, where do we come out? I come out in P15. Grosjean comes out in P16. So he would have been more likely to get into Q3 than I was, so it's kind of unfortunate that he got knocked out here and I didn't. I would have rather him had the opportunity to qualify higher than me, because I'm not going out in Q2, which you'll see in just a second. As we move into Q2, the engine replacement is going to take 26 minutes, which is just the whole session basically. So I'm finishing down in P15 for qualifying 2. Luckily, we'll get a fresh set of tires to start on and our free choice of tires, so hopefully that'll play into our hands. The strategy will hopefully come to us and we can get a good result in the race.
There's nowhere at all I'd rather be today than here at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. We have an incredibly competitive field this year, which means we should be in for a treat. And judging by the sea of people filling the grandstands, there's a fair-sized chunk of Germany that agrees with me. With average lap speeds of around 130 miles per hour, the Hockenheim Ring is a quick circuit with a lap distance of 2.8 miles, around 17 corners. The main DRS zone through Parabolica leads into the hairpin for the best overtaking opportunity on the track. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Butler, Bottas, Sebastian Vettel and Verstappen, Ricciardo, Weber, Gasly and Sergio Perez, Raikkonen, Stroll, Lando Norris and Hülkenberg, Bird, Grosjean, Antonio Giovinazzi and Daniel Kvyat. Russell and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, let's see if we can keep the momentum up. Let's get another points finish.
So here we are in the grid. As you can see, the free choice of tire is going to let us start on the medium tires and go to the hard for a one-stop race here today and this afternoon. Hopefully most of the cars that start in the top 10 are going to have to do a two-stop since they have to do the soft tires. As you can see, I was just kind of messing around with strategy. The soft tires do not last that long, so that means they are definitely probably going to have to do a two-stop, especially if they don't have the tire wear upgrades like we do. But we'll just have to wait and see. The first step is going to have to beat the rest of the midfield that are starting on the medium tires, because we have to actually overtake them for position, where we might get the benefit for all the other drivers that are starting in the top 10. As here we are on the grid for the 5 red lights, and away we go. It's not quite a good start. I lose the back end and I get on the grass, and I fall down all the way to P19 here. Giovinazzi gets me. Hülkenberg. There goes a Alfa Romeo front wing. I think that had to be Giovinazzi. Raikkonen's nowhere near me. I'm diving around the outside of turn 2 here. As we move up in the 15th place, we are side by side with Grosjean. I have to kind of cut the corner just a little bit to make sure I don't collide with him. Luckily, we do not come away with any damage, and we are back up in the P14. One place higher than where we started, so that's a successful opening few turns, if I have to say so myself. Norris is kind of getting away. I had a bad exit out of the hairpin, so we're just going to have to wait until the end of lap 1 here till we can finally catch up to Norris. It's quite a short lap around here. It's only about a minute and 14 seconds about, so most of the time is spent on these 3 DRS straights, and this is kind of where you have to do your overtaking here. As I'm approaching Norris, I dive up the inside. This is actually one of my favorite moves on the track, diving out on the outside of turn 2 here, as I kind of squeeze out Norris onto that 3rd DRS straight. The AI aren't too quick around the first high-speed corner, so if you can really nail that turn each and every time, you can really overtake them onto the 2nd DRS straight, and then hopefully squeeze them out onto the 3rd so they don't get a good run at you and re-overtake you with DRS. But as you can see, we are on the back of Raikkonen now at the beginning of lap 3. We back off just a little bit so we can not collide into the back of him, getting at the slipstream effect. And we are going to go around the outside again. This time we touch Raikkonen a little. He kind of turns into us, and we kind of turn into him, but luckily there's no damage on either of our cars, and we get the position, and we are up in the P12 now. So next car up is Lance Stroll on our overtaking list. But as you can see, there are quite a few cars ahead. Once you get past Lance Stroll, there's looks like 3 or 4 cars in a train. So that could get us up into a nice point-paying position, especially if those are all the drivers on soft tires. Cutting to lap 3 here, we are still behind Lance Stroll. You can see that I forgot to change the rest of the engine components, so we are dealing with a worn MGUK here, which I think the MGUK does the energy harvesting efficiency. So we are going to have to deal with that for the rest of the race, where we're not getting the most out of our ERS here under braking, but DRS on Lance Stroll. We are going to go up the outside again. DRS really is powerful if you get a good run out of that first turn. And once again, we have overtaken another car before the 3rd DRS straight. Unfortunately, that means we don't get DRS down the straight, so we might be losing a little time, but I'd rather take the position early on. We are 1 point out of the points-paying position as we catch up to Pierre Gasly. He's the first car that we have to overtake on the soft tires, so at this point, on lap 5, their soft tires are probably wearing out, and my medium tires are definitely probably faster than them. So Gasly's going to make a move on Ricciardo. Ricciardo is just a sitting duck here, as me and Gasly both have DRS. I'm going to try to dive up the inside on with at the hairpin. I get the overspeed braking all wrong, and Gasly just switches back on me, which allows him to keep the position, but we do overtake Ricciardo. Not enough space to go around the outside of Gasly at the next turn, but we do get Ricciardo here, so we are up into P10, and we're just going to have to wait a little longer to get Gasly. We'll definitely be able to get him with DRS. As you can see, I managed to accidentally tap the wall, and if you look really closely, the left front wing is a lime green. We do have a bit of damage, and you would think that that much damage would probably not even be that bad. It's probably not, it wasn't too bad on the lap time, but it was noticeable driving around the corners, especially this high-speed right-hander. We close up the Gasly. We do exceed the track limits though a little bit because I had to slow down, and the wing damage might have affected my line. We do make the pass on Gasly on the inside this time instead of the outside, so luckily we do get by in the P9, but now we have to deal with the front wing damage and probably a what's it called, a front wing change at the pit stop, so we'll probably lose a position or two there, unfortunately. But luckily for us right now, it's not too bad, and I would rather just switch it at the pit stop regardless. Moving on to the beginning of lap 10 here. As you can see, we are up in the P4 with the pit stops. There goes Lewis Hamilton, the race leader, or the net race leader at least. He is coming out right behind us, and I kind of wish that I was a bit slower, because then I would have came out right behind him and got the DRS down this long back straight. But now we hear Mercedes is way faster than our Haas car, so we're just going to turn the engine down and let him by. There's no point in fighting him. Maybe we can get slipstream down some of the next straights, because the dirty air isn't as bad as it is in real life, so it hopefully won't harm us too bad. But we did manage to pull out in front of the two Ferraris. As you can see on the mini-map, they're right behind us. Jumping to lap 12 here, the end of lap 11. Both of the Ferraris are going to be right on us, and as if you watched one of my my first career mode episode, you can know that we are a Ferrari Academy driver, but we are in the Haas affiliate with the Ferrari engine until we prove Ferrari that we are ready to be in their car. And so we are just going to put the engine into low mixture here and let the two Ferraris go by. They have DRS on us anyway, so we'd be a sitting duck, so we're just going to let them go. Vettel is trying to make a move on Leclerc here. He gets the inside positioning, but Leclerc gets a better line on the outside to try to out-accelerate Vettel, but it's to no prevail. Vettel gets a better exit than Leclerc does and gets the position. We are down in the P4. We kind of make contact with Leclerc. I wasn't expecting him to slow down so much. And you can see our tires are getting a little worn at this point, but they're not too bad yet. And also in the pit stop phase, we did make it ahead of both of the Red Bulls too. So the next car right behind us is Devin Butler, and no one likes Devin Butler, so unlike the Ferrari cars where I felt like I should let him pass just to get in good favorites with the team, I decide to fight Butler as hard as I can. I fight him off at turn 1, he gets in front of me at turn 2 here, but I'm going to get DRS. Coming down the third straight, Kimi Räikkönen has retired from the session. I think it was just an engine failure, and we get clean around Butler, but I just forget that I have so much more overspeed with DRS that I just overbrake myself, have to go off track, and then the FIA consider that an illegal overtake, so I'm slowing down to let the two Red Bulls by. And they finally go by. We've lost so much time here. Bottas gets by too, so unfortunately, well, it's good that he got by too at the same time, but unfortunately we had to let Devin Butler by. I'd rather ruin his race, even though that he's in a way faster car than I am. Romain Grosjean in the pits. We are going to be pitting on this lap, I believe, but we have Max Verstappen right behind us. We are in P6 now, but that doesn't really matter. Verstappen's going to be ahead of us once he pits. I wasn't really paying attention during the race, and I wasn't really until now, as I mindlessly drive off the track there while adjusting my ERS modes. Lando Norris out of the session, probably mechanical or engine failure again. There was no crash. I lose the rear end there. Verstappen's going to get by me, but he's not really driving by, and he's too much of a... He's not really forcefully overtaking the position here, and I'm just going to keep my speed up, because this is my in-lap, if you remember. Verstappen's probably fuming in the cockpit, but he didn't really try to overtake me that well, so I'm just going to keep the position. He was going too slow. But as I was saying, I didn't even notice this during the race, but all the front-running guys were on the hard tires, so I imagined that they were going to try to squeeze those performances of the hard tire out till the end as we dive into the pits here. Their tires are probably going to be worn to like shreds by the time the race is over, but probably is faster than doing a two-stop and having to overtake cars, especially with the AI and their overtaking abilities. As you can see, we are going on from the hard tires from the medium tires, and our front wing is being changed. You can see the Racing Point come into the pits ahead of us and jump us in the pits. Unfortunately, due to that wing change, we did not build up enough of a gap thanks to Verstappen. We do get jumped by Daniel Kvyat too, who pit the lap before, or 2 laps before, I'm not exactly sure, but we are down 2 places from what we probably would have been, maybe even more, thanks to the front wing change. DRS, but Kvyat gets DRS too, but we are gaining quite rapidly on him. We have the engine going as hard as we can. We're going to take the outside line here. We brake just a bit too late, not as bad as we did on the Butler attempt to overtake, but we do lose a position momentarily to Kvyat, but thanks to we do get strained out more, so we do get the better acceleration zone out of the corner, which allows us to re-overtake Kvyat, which means we are up into 11th place now, which means we have to re-overtake Stroll, who is now ahead of us. We do manage to get DRS just barely coming down this back straight, but I am way too far back to actually make a move, so I'm going to turn the engine down, try to save ERS while I can. We do close up pretty close under braking, kind of make a bit of contact with Stroll on the back end, but we do not come away with damage, which is fortunate. If my career mode had simulation damage, then it would definitely have broken my front wing, which is why I'm not good enough to deal with that, so I have it on full right now. Keeping the engine in none mixture just so we can save ERS, so we can actually overtake and then keep the position, because there's no point in overtaking and then running out of ERS immediately after and having the engine let us down and letting Stroll by again. So here we come onto 3 DRS straights here. Gonna keep the engine in none just so I can stay behind Stroll. Into turn 1, it's not really an overtaking corner, but we don't get quite a great exit out of here, so I'm gonna have to wait behind and actually overtake on the 3rd DRS straight this time instead of the 2nd. But fortunately we will get DRS instead of Stroll since we do stay behind him. Daniel Kvyat is actually coming up right behind us, but we are turning the engine up to try to overtake Stroll, so we don't really have to worry too much about him. Stroll's going to defend to the inside. We are going to go cleanly around the outside, actually get the braking right this time, and get ourselves up in the P9. Next up, Lucas Weber in the McLaren on medium tires. I don't think he's pit yet, or he's doing a 2-stop strategy at least, because the mediums probably are dead by now. So yep, so Weber is stopping on this lap along with the other Racing Point of Sergio Perez, which promotes us up in the P7, which is best of the rest thanks to none of the top 6 guys retiring from the race yet. So Vettel looks like he's doing a 2-stop too, he must be doing a 2-stop, soft, medium, medium, because he is on the mediums. Leclerc on the mediums too, as you can see ahead. Lap 24, you can see that Sergio Perez is closing the gap. They were probably on 2 stops, so we are on older hard tires, Sergio Perez on fresh medium tires, so he's going to try to close the gap quite rapidly to us. He is coming pretty fast, and Lucas Weber's right behind him too, so we're going to have to try to maintain our pace as much as we can, but unfortunately the inevitable is coming. Sergio Perez is right behind us on lap 25. Here he comes down the main straight. He gets DRS. I don't know if the AR is smart. He makes a dive at the inside. He doesn't really get alongside of me. I try to leave room, and it spins him around. Sergio Perez spun around, stuck in the middle of the main straight. He is not out. Probably damaged his front wing, though. Here's a replay now of the collision. He gets DRS. He's not really gaining too much, and he gets alongside of me, but he's not really in a position to make the corner properly. And I kind of just had to bail the corner, and that was really his own fault. He should have just waited into the second or third DRS straights. Much better overtaking opportunities, much less dangerous. Really, he just left it too late to try to make a dive bomb. But regardless of Perez being way behind now, we still have to deal with Lucas Weber, who is right behind us on lap 32. Fortunately for us, our Haas Ferrari engine is one of the best on the grid, so which is the opposite of McLaren's slower Renault engine, probably one of the slower cars in the engines on the grid in terms of straight line speed. I don't think they've upgraded the engine too much quite yet in this career mode, but we shouldn't have a issue keeping Lucas Weber behind as long as he doesn't try to make any preemptive moves onto the DRS straight, which forces me to get a bad exit. Going into the mid-speed right-hander there, I kind of lose my line and go into the gravel, which lets Weber by. We have 2 laps remaining in this GP, and we're going to have to overtake Weber again, hopefully to get our P7 back. Luckily, the DRS straight's right here, or else he might have driven away from us with his fresh medium tires. But we do have DRS on him and a faster engine. We're going to keep the engine turned down quite a bit. I kind of lock up the front right there, which gets me a bad exit, but hopefully I can turn the engine up enough and we can produce enough horsepower to propel me past Weber as we gain on Weber with crazy speed, cleanly going around the outside, getting the braking right, and reclaiming our 7th place at best of the rest. So this is the penultimate lap. We only have 1 more lap to go, and as we cut to the end of lap 33, going on to lap 34, this is going to be Lucas Weber's last chance to try to overtake us here. He's not going to be able to overtake in the rest of the lap. These DRS sections are his best opportunity to do so. I was kind of saving ERS through the end of lap 33, but hopefully it'll be enough to stop us. Lucas Weber is pretty close, but DRS is not really helping him too much right now, as our engine power is enough to keep Lucas Weber behind us. Lewis Hamilton wins the race, a half lap ahead of where we are, and we're going to cut ahead to the end of the lap right now. End of the race, we managed to keep our P7 best of the rest above Lucas Weber. A little swerving to just show him how happy we are that we managed to pull it off.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
So the result of this race was pretty good for us, not so great for Romain Grosjean. He was only 1 place behind me, but I guess he didn't have the speed to keep up. He finishes outside the points while we bring home a solid 6 points. Sebastian Vettel gets the fastest lap of the race. We actually were quite faster than Grosjean, our fastest lap being a 1:16.6, while his was nearly a second slower than us. So I guess he just wasn't pushing near the end, or I don't know what happened with him. 2 DNFs with Norris and Raikkonen. And as we move on to the standings here, Devin Butler overtakes Leclerc in the standings while we kind of cement ourselves in the P7, separating ourselves from Perez. His terrible dive prevented him from getting P7 himself, so fortunately for us, we didn't get spun out. Grosjean still in P11 with 13 points. He's quite lagging behind. He's not really living up to the potential of what this car can do. It is the best car in the midfield, so I don't know why he's so slow. No change in the constructor standings, but Mercedes pulling away 117 points ahead of Ferrari, if I can talk properly. We are sitting nicely in P4 thanks to my performances, but Grosjean's going to have to step it up if he doesn't want to be kicked out of this team.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today? Do you have any comments about the collisions? There wasn't much between you and Lucas by the finish today. Great. Well, that's everything.
Going into the rivalry breakdown, I haven't decided on my second rival yet. I was waiting to see who attacks me in this race to see who I should pick, but we do cream Grosjean once again in the rivalry section. Faster lap than him, better finishing position, all the good stuff. Gotta beat him to make myself look good. Big reputation boost with Haas. I can't imagine they would be upset with me considering how good I've been doing. But we are going to move into the R&D chart, I believe. We have 1,178 points to spend. We do have to rebuy the rear underfloor weight redistribution upgrade that failed last time. We unfortunately don't have enough to buy any majors, so that means we can't do any of the chassis or aerodynamic upgrades. So I was kind of debating on what to do next. Luckily we have the 3 minors here. We can either do ERS, power, or fuel consumption upgrades, and I've actually decided to go with the fuel consumption. Anytime I'm running in standard, it feels like I'm losing fuel, so it would be nice to be able to save fuel just by being in standard mixture. But that's all I got for you guys this time. I actually forget who I chose as my next rival. I will make sure to show you guys in the next video. If you want to know who that is, make sure you stay tuned to watch some more. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more content. I'll see you guys in the next one.